Well, I think we agreed at the outset that we wouldn't seek to written conclusions because we all know that wouldn't have resulted in meaningful conclusions because of the diversity of opinions that exist around the table, and opinions on the conflict are very diverse and often come from countries' different historical perspectives, and we need to understand that. We see things in a particular way for various reasons. Germany, Austria see things in the context of the events of the 1940s. Other countries that have experienced attacks from Islamic fundamentalist groups, allies of Hamas, obviously see things in a different way too, and we just need to be understanding of that as Ireland. What there was very strongly around the table, and there was no dissension from this, is the view that there must be a two-state solution that involves a secure and viable state for Palestinians, but also recognition and security guarantees for Israel. And that was a unanimous position, really, and it was encouraging to see that, because I think the EU can have a role to play in making sure that we don't have another 75 years of war and terrorism and dispossession, because nobody can contemplate that. In terms of what we were pressing, very much pressing the view that EU states should endorse the recent ruling of the ICJ, which falls short of a call for a ceasefire, but very clearly states that Israel must adhere to international humanitarian law. In addition to that, having strong European support for a two-state solution, which I believe is there. And we also set out our position in relation to UNRWA, while we are appalled at the idea and indeed the allegations that UN agency staff were involved in a beastly terrorist attack against Israel on October 7th. That in itself doesn't justify a suspension of funding for UNRWA, either from Ireland or from the European Union. And the Commission President made it very clear that the next payment is due in February, and that payment may well be made, that there's no freeze on EU funding, but they will want assurances from the UN that everything is being done to make sure that if there were any UN agency staff collaborating with Hamas, that they're dealt with and dealt with appropriately. The position is that the EU is not suspending its funding for UNRWA, but it is reviewing it, and that decision will be made between now and the end of February. But I'd be confident that the decision will be made to continue that funding.
So, Taoiseach, is there nothing changed in the EU position, seeing that over 200 people a day are being killed, children are having legs amputated with no anaesthetic, people are starving in Gaza as we speak, and the EU is essentially not doing anything new about it?
Well, the truth is, the European Union, when it comes to foreign policy, acts with unanimity, and there isn't unanimity on this particular issue, unfortunately, and that's the reality that we face. Absent that, we take the position that we do. There are a lot of countries that are very like-minded with Ireland around the table. The vast majority of countries support our call for a ceasefire. Every country wants the hostages to be released without any condition, and I don't think anyone believes that there's any future for Hamas in the future running of Gaza, because there can be no peace for Palestinians or Israel if Hamas is allowed to continue control in Gaza. So I think all those things are clear.
Are you talking to any of those like-minded countries then?